Corporate Governance Platform, a program from the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, is now at your doorstep.
By the way, what is corporate governance and what are its key pillars?
Will there be any conflict of interest if a person combines the roles of a chairman and a chief executive officer in a corporate organization?
What can Nigeria do to gain international recognition in the context of the application of corporate governance?
These and many more questions will be answered on
Corporate Governance Platform, a program designed to inform and educate our numerous viewers on the adoption of corporate governance best practices by corporate entities.
Join the Corporate Governance Platform crew every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. on MITV, your talent station, via DSTV 255 and UHF 43.
Corporate Governance Platform, your strategy for the adoption of corporate governance best practices by corporate entities. Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
Thanks for joining us on Corporate Governance Platform, your favorite program on TV. Coming to you live from MITV. I'm proudly sponsored by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Tunde Odeyemi. Today we want to look at the role of professional bodies in the entrenchment of good governance in Nigeria. And leading the conversation is the President and the Chairman of the Governing Council of ICSAN, Mr. BODE AYEKU. Mr. BODE AYEKU, you are welcome to Corporate Governance Platform.
Good evening, Tunde. Good evening, viewers. It is my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we want to discuss the role of professional bodies in the entrenchment of good governance in Nigeria. And I would like to kickstart this discussion by asking you, why are professional bodies established?
Professional bodies are established in every country in order to regulate some group of experts in a particular discipline, to ensure that there is orderliness in the way those experts will apply their trade. And the reason is very simple. They are established to assist the government to manage and regulate these particular experts. And we have various experts in various disciplines.
Okay.
And because government cannot do it alone, so government in most countries usually delegate some of these powers to these professional bodies to regulate the affairs of their members, to set the standard of practice, and also to ensure that if any member is, the member will be disciplined accordingly.
Okay, to regulate the affairs of their members and to set standard. I'd like to say viewers can join us in this program by texting to 080-2323-1287. I'll take the number again, 080-2323-1287. And please remember, when you send a text, try to include your name and where you are sending the text from. So you have already told us why we have professional bodies. How are professional bodies established and how are their powers and roles ascertained?
Well, they are established in most cases informally to start with, in the sense that this group of experts will decide to meet informally after some time, and then they can decide to approach the relevant government agency, for example, the Corporate Affairs Commission in Nigeria, for registration as a company limited by guarantee. Actually, the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria are passed through that same stage. Okay. We started in Nigeria in 1944 as an association of chartered secretaries, those who qualify in UK when they came back to Nigeria. So they started their meetings informally. Thereafter, in 1988, they approached the government and they registered as a company limited by guarantee. Thereafter, after some level of maturity, then it's such a professional body who approach the government for a charter, that is for a law establishing that body to regulate that particular profession. And for example, like in the institute, what we did was also to contact the government, and then we have this alignment, and then the government will now set the standards in terms of what the professional body should do, their roles, their responsibilities, and how they should moderate the affairs of their members. So in most cases, it started as informal association. Gradually, it now become an established professional body by Act of Parliament. However, in some cases, it could just start without any informal association, in the sense that the government will just set up that professional body if they observe that there is the need to regulate that profession and to ensure that things are done properly. It will be set up, and then the enabling act will define what they should do and what they cannot do. So in most cases, that is what you see worldwide. They will start gradually as an informal association, then they can move to the next stage of registering as a company limited by guarantee before they now obtain the charter, which is a law establishing them. When they have that law, that means the government has recognized them and the government has empowered them to regulate that particular profession, because that particular law will specify their limits, what they can do, and how they can manage the affairs of their members. And in such a case, anything related to that profession has been delegated to them by the government. And all the professional bodies also are linked to a particular ministry. So that they can supervise it. It's like an extended regulation from the side of the government, because the government cannot do it alone. So they empower a particular group of people to be established as a professional body, but under the ministry, so that they conduct their affairs. But they are independent of the government. They are not.
Okay, despite the fact that they are independent of the government, they derive their powers from the government.
Yes, if established by Act of Parliament, they derive their power from the government. However, if they register as a company limited by guarantee, their constitution will then guide their operations. That is, whatever they have agreed among themselves will then guide their operation. But if they are established by law, whatever has been provided in that law will guide the operation. So that is the fine distinction between those established by Act of Parliament and the professional bodies established or recognized by the Corporate Affairs Commission by virtue of the fact that they are registered as company limited by guarantee.
So what powers do these professional bodies have over their members?
Enormous powers. To start with, they have the power to train those aspiring to be members of that profession. Okay. Apart from that, they also have the power to set the standard of practice in that particular profession. They also have the power to release code of conduct and also to guide the operations of members and the way they conduct their activity in such a way that they will be able to project the name of that particular professional body in good light, and they will be able to render excellent services to their clients. Apart from that, because it's not possible that you have everybody behaving in a particular way. For those who are found to have done one thing or the other contrary to the law establishing that particular profession, then that professional body also has the power to discipline them. And that is why, for example, if a professional has done something wrong, you can't take that professional to the court. You have to report that professional to the professional body it belongs. For example, if a charter secretary today is found to have done something wrong, you don't sue this charter secretary because the court will refer you back, because there is a law establishing that particular professional body, and the law has also specified the mode of discipline which has to be followed. And that is why anything relating to breach of the code of ethics or the enabling act of any particular profession, the recourse by the public and the government is to refer such a person to the professional body for discipline. And the discipline is recognized in the sense that the best the person can do, if it's not satisfied with the pronouncement of the disciplinary committee of that professional body, is now to appeal. But you don't start that particular action in the court as an ordinary action. Is only when the decision has been taken by that professional body against the member that if it's not satisfied, that you can escalate.
Now, in the case of discipline, if you go direct to the court, is it that the court will ask you to go back to your professional body?
Because if you are alleging professional misconduct, it is the professional body that can actually determine that.
Okay.
Because they now need to establish that yes, this is the allegation against our member, and then this is the standard we have set, and our member has fallen short of that standard. It is only when that is established that they now go a step further to now discipline. Okay. And it's not for the court, because that power has been delegated to that professional body. And that is why we have enabling law. It's a law setting up that particular professional body, and that law includes the mode of discipline, the rights of the members, and if anything is found not to have been in line, then the professional body, through the committee set up, we discipline that particular member, and then if the member or maybe the complainant is not satisfied, then the matter can be escalated. But you cannot go to the court, for example, to report a charter secretary has behaved in a way that you consider not to be in line.
Especially in the area of professional misconduct.
As long as it relates to professional misconduct, you have to report to the professional body in charge, because they are the ones that set the standard of practice. So if you are saying that the person has fallen short of that standard, they are the ones who determine that person has fallen short of that standard and take appropriate action.
Okay, what then is the role of the professional bodies in ensuring good governance in both private and public sectors in Nigeria?
They have enormous roles. To start with, the professional body itself must ensure that they put in place the right governance structure, because you cannot give what you don't have. And because in most cases they are established by law, the law establishing them must have specified the governance structure. So that professional body has a moral obligation to first and foremost put in place governance structure. Apart from that, they also work with their members to guide their clients to put governance structures in place. If you look at all the professional bodies, they have members. Their members are working with clients. The clients in most cases are in the private sector. So these professional bodies will set the standard of how in terms of what their members could do to assist their client to put governance structure in place. And apart from that, they do not work with the private sector, they also work with the government. So the professional body also relate with the government. If they observe that there is a gap in regulation in that particular profession, they advise the government to put in place regulations to cater for that particular aspect, because it's not possible for the government to anticipate all possibilities. So it's the professional body that will not say, okay, we have observed a gap or a loophole here, we need to close it by regulation, and we have various instances like that. So they do that. That is the respect of the private sector. In the public sector also, the professional bodies, they assist the government to put governance structures in place. If you observe in the last few years, there has been clamored by professional bodies that the ministries, departments, and agencies of government must have boards, that their boards must be constituted or reconstituted. And the reason is that the board of any organization provides the leadership that will ensure sustainable, good corporate governance structure. So if you don't have the board, the management is left alone to do whatever they like. So you need the board to guide them, and that is why professional bodies have been putting pressure on the authorities to ensure that they constitute the board. And apart from that, from time to time, they advise the government on the need for them to put in place governance structure, independence of those entities or those individuals managing the structure, and if things are not done properly, to ensure that things are done properly. So from time to time, these professional bodies, even in the public sector, they liaise with the government. If there are regulations that are not in the interest of the stakeholders, that are not in the interest of the economy, these professional bodies will come up to draw the attention to the government to it that we need to do ABC in respect of this particular area in order to close it down. And we have various instances whereby the professional bodies, they've advised the government proactively on regulations or codes to be put in place to ensure that we have a workable system. And in some cases, we have instances whereby professional bodies, if there are regulations that are not in tandem with the expectation of the economy, or that maybe the stakeholders are not too comfortable with, they project or they communicate those concerns to the government in such a way that the government will be in a position to find a way to accommodate the concerns in such a way that we have regulations that will assist.
Wow, crucial rules of professional bodies. Now, the question I'd like to ask is, what is the role of professional bodies in the development of corporate governance codes for various sectors in Nigeria?
They play a tremendous role. Government will not just sit down and just impose codes on any sector or any particular profession. What the government will do is to consult widely. And the starting point will be to consult with that particular professional body in that particular area. For example, the various codes we have in Nigeria, the code of corporate governance in the banking sector, insurance sector, public sector, telecoms, they contacted the relevant professional bodies in those areas for their input. And I can speak specifically, the one that is very recent, the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018. All the public hearings starting from 2015, professional bodies were involved, were invited for input, for recommendation. And the good thing is that at each sitting during the public hearing, each professional body was called upon to express their comments and also to express their views and recommendations, so that the government can also look to it. And this is being done from time to time. So all the codes we have in Nigeria are the professional bodies they've assisted, and they are still assisting to ensure that those codes are also working properly. And apart from that, even after the release of the Nigerian Code of Public Governance 2018, there was a need to have a reporting template, because it's not enough for you to have a code. You must ensure that that code is being used and is being used properly. So there was the need to have a governance, corporate governance reporting template, which the Financial Reporting Council developed. And what they did, which was also very good, was that when they came up with the draft, they forwarded the draft to relevant professional bodies. It was forwarded to the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria for comments. We made our comments and inputs, and also other professional bodies also made their comments and inputs, because each professional body will be looking at it from the point of view of its area of discipline, to ensure that the expectations of the government will be met, and then the possible concern maybe by their members and by the clients of their members will be incorporated, so that we'll have a system that is working. And with that, it has been excellent. And as I said earlier, there are various instances whereby for professional bodies, we actually guide the government to say we need regulation in this area. Prior to the 2018 Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance, we have sectoral codes. The professional bodies actually advise the government to have a national code, a uniform code for the country. So that shows an example of a leading strategy on the part of professional body to advise the government proactively that we need to put in place a national code, not the sectoral code that is in bits and pieces. Apart from that, if you look at the current PIB, petroleum industry, professional bodies have been pushing, we need to have a governance structure, we need to consider this. So these are areas whereby they've been assisting the government to put in place regulations where we do not have regulation, and in some cases we have regulations, maybe or new regulations that are not too good for the system. Professional bodies also assist. For example, last year when COVID started around March, which happened to be the season of AGMs, the Corporate Affairs Commission came up with a guideline for the conduct of annual general meetings by proxy, and it was done in good faith because of the lockdown, people could not go out, and because of restriction on mass gathering, it was difficult for a lot of people to congregate. Shareholders could not be. So they came up with that particular guideline. However, that guideline had a proviso that no company can conduct or discuss any item under special business, which was not in the interest of the private sector, because when the private sector, whenever the company hosts its annual general meeting, they discuss both the ordinary business and special business. But because they said the regulations stated that no special business could be discussed for obvious reasons, because special business are critical items, and the Corporate Affairs Commission wanted all stakeholders to be there, not just few stakeholders. So that generated some arguments here and there. Institute of Chartered Secretaries stepped in, organized a webinar, invited the Corporate Affairs Commission, Securities and Exchange Commission, Nigerian Stock Exchange, and investors on how to break the logjam, and eventually they were able to resolve that. So that happens to be an example of a situation whereby a professional body actually stepped in to modify a regulation to accommodate the concerns of stakeholders. Apart from that, recently when the Companies and Land Matters Act 2020 was released, the Corporate Affairs Commission also released its Companies Regulation 2021, stating that all companies must fully allot their on-issue shares by June 2021. And there was concern because there was no such provision in the Companies and Land Matters Act. The same thing happens. Our members, because they got this agitation from their clients, also inform and other stakeholders, inform the Institute of Chartered Secretaries to step in, and we organized another interactive session with Corporate Affairs Commission, and the lockdown was resolved because we explained to them why it would not be possible for shares to be allotted within 6 months. And
wow.
Then
the professional bodies are actually doing a lot from the extensive answers to that question. But we'll continue with that. I would like to take you up on the issue of the regulators after this break. Let's quickly go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue with the discussion on professional bodies and good governance in Nigeria. Please don't go away.
Corporate Governance Platform, a program from the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, is now at your doorstep.
By the way, what is corporate governance and what are its key pillars?
Will there be any conflict of interest if our person combines the roles of our chairman and a chief executive officer in a corporate organization?
What can Nigeria do to gain international recognition in the context of the application of corporate governance?
These and many more questions will be answered on
Corporate Governance Platform, a program designed to inform and educate our numerous viewers on the adoption of corporate governance best practices by corporate entities.
Join the Corporate Governance Platform crew every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. on MITV, your talent station via DSTV 255 and UHF 43.
Corporate Governance Platform, your strategy for the adoption of corporate governance best practices by corporate entities. Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
You're welcome back to Corporate Governance Platform. We are discussing the role of professional bodies in the entrenchment of good governance in Nigeria. And I still have with me in the studio the President and Chairman of the Governing Council of ICSAN, Mr. BODE AYEKU. Now, Mr. AYEKU, I would like to ask this question. Are professional bodies expected to review and comment on policies of the regulatory agencies or contentious governance issues?
That they are expected to do that because that is the reason why they are established. They are expected to assist the government, and the only way you can assist the government and the authority is by telling them the truth. Professional bodies are not political parties. They are not opposition parties. They are neutral. They are not dependent on the government. They do not take subvention from the government. And it's to enable them express their views. And from time to time, they must play that particular role. They must be objective in their assessments or in making their comments. They should be looking at the way out. They should not be criticizing. It should be constructive suggestions on how to improve this.
Okay, let me go to that. In the process of saying the truth, will government not see it as criticizing the government policies?
Then I will advise the government not to look at it from that angle. The professional bodies, they are to assist the government. Professional bodies are like mirror to a car, the side mirrors. When the side mirror points a danger or draws your attention to a danger, not that the side mirror is creating a problem for you. It's trying to ensure that you drive safely without any issue. So government should not regard or consider their contrary comments as criticism. It is just to ensure that the government succeeds with that particular policy. There is no point having regulation that will destroy the economy. If they are drawing the attention to the fact that this will not work because it has this implication on their members or on the clients of their members, then the government needs to look at it. And I can tell you for free, based on the engagement of the Corporate Affairs the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria in the last few years with the authorities, they are also listening. As long as you have valid points, they will listen to you. And that is why I encourage professional bodies to express their views, and I expect the government and the authorities also to listen to those views with receptive mind and not with a mindset that don't challenge me. It should be, let's talk. Let me explain to you why I put this regulation in place and tell me why it should not be put in place or why it should be modified.
Okay, we have a text message here, and let me also say that it's only text message. Some people have been calling, but we cannot receive any call. It's only text message on 08023231287. The person here asked a question, say, how can one be a chartered secretary?
Very simple. Just go to our website, Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. Then the procedure is there. You also see the requirements, and you are good to go. So it's not a big problem at all. Just visit the institute. It's at Alausa here, +6 11 Smith Way, and then they will guide you.
Okay, still talking about the institute. In what ways have ICSAN, right, the institute, have shaped policy direction of government and its agencies, authorities?
In several ways. For example, the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018, we contributed right from 2015 to the time it was released. We participated in the public hearings. We sent our recommendations to the government, and that has been listing, at least that has been incorporated. Apart from that, we'll be organizing programs on the pillars of corporate governance, which is transparency, fairness, responsibility, and accountability. And in addition to that, we also have devoted our public lecture on governance issues and key areas of governance. For example, whistleblowing policy. We consider the principles, the effect, and the way out. Sustainability, we considered just last week, and it's something we do on a regular basis. So we do all these things to ensure that we assist the government, we assist the private sector to ensure that things are done properly. And from time to time, we release communique on all our programs. We make it available, we publish them in the newspaper, they're on our website, so that people can see,
away from ICSAN, talking about professional bodies generally, are professional bodies in Nigeria performing their roles adequately as at now? And if not, what are the areas of improvement?
I think they are trying their best. Okay. However, there is room for improvement for all professional bodies. Okay. And I encourage them to, as much as possible, whenever there are new regulations, to quickly review them with their members and send their comments to the appropriate authorities, so that they can incorporate those comments. And as long as we can do that, they will be in a position to continue to assist the government.
Okay, this may be my last question. I want you to answer it in less than 1 minute. Now, what's the role of Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, APBN?
It is the umbrella body of all professional bodies in Nigeria, and their mandate actually is to ensure that the professionals will be in a position to assist the government to discharge their responsibility for the economy to prosper. They look at the various aspects of the economy, because if you are talking about Association of Professional Bodies, that is all the disciplines in Nigeria, they are part of the system. So holistically, they look at the country, and they look at how can we assist the government to achieve its objectives, and how can we assist our clients to prosper, that is the clients of their members to prosper. So they are working together in a way to support the government, in a way to ensure that we put in place sound governance principles in such a way that we also incorporate international best practices, because we also need that in order to ensure that we follow the line of the developed economy, so that we can also develop.
Okay, that is much that we can take on this episode of Corporate Governance Platform. President and Chairman of Governing Council ICSAN, Mr. BODE AYEKU, thank you very much for coming on the show and for sharing your thoughts on professional bodies and how they can entrench good governance in Nigeria. And for our viewers, we thank you very much for watching. Please join us again next week, same station, same time, and remain tuned to Odeyemi. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Corporate Governance Platform, a program from the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, is now at your doorstep.
By the way, what is corporate governance and what are its key pillars?
Will there be any conflict of interest if a person combines the roles of a chairman and a chief executive officer in a corporate organization?
What can Nigeria do to gain international recognition in the context of the application of corporate governance?
These and many more questions will be answered on
Corporate Governance Platform, a program designed to inform and educate our numerous viewers on the adoption of corporate governance best practices by corporate entities.
Join the Corporate Governance Platform crew every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. on MITV, your talent station, via DSTV 255 and UHF 43.
Corporate Governance Platform, your strategy for the adoption of corporate governance best practices by corporate entities. Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.